So we're going to start by making a magic circle, and we're going to chain 1 to secure the magic circle. So I'm working in American terms. There's my chain 1, and the first part of the scrubby is to make 12 single crochets into this circle. So a single crochet is into the middle of the circle, grab your wool and pull it through, so you've got 2 loops on your hook, grab your wool, pull through 2. So I'm going to do 12 of those. That's my first one. My chain doesn't count as the first stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12. So there's my 12 single crochets, and now I'm going to tighten up my magic circle. So I just pull this tail and it tightens it up, so we've got a circle, and we're going to join with a slip stitch into the first single crochet. I find the easiest way to do this and to make sure that I'm slip stitching to the right place is to count back from my hook. So 12 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is my 12th, and I'm going to join it with a slip stitch. So I'm putting my hook in, grabbing my wool, pulling it through the stitch and through the loop on the hook. And I usually pull this slip stitch tight so it disappears, so that I'm not mistaking it for a stitch later on. And I do that just by pulling this loop up. Can you see it's just disappeared? So that's round 1, 12 single crochets into a magic circle. If you're not confident doing a magic circle to start the face scrubby, you can always do a chain of 2 and do the 12 single crochets in the first chain. So start off in the normal way with a loop on your hook, chain 2, 1, 2, and you'll do the 12 single crochets in this loop here. So up to 7. So you might have to push them around a bit to get them all in. I've got 10 there, so I've got a couple more to get in yet. 11, 12. And I do the same thing as I did when I started with a magic circle. So I'm going to count around to make sure that I'm joining in the right stitch. So from the hook, 12 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm joining with a slip stitch under this stitch. So in, grab my wool and pull it through this loop, and give it a tug just to tighten it up so that slip stitch disappears. And there's the alternative way of doing the 12 single crochets. Instead of doing it in a magic circle, do a chain 2 and 12 single crochets in the second chain from your hook. Hope that helps. Round 2 of the face scrubby is in double crochets. So I'm going to start this round by making a chain 3, and this chain 3 counts as the first stitch. So for the rest of the round, I'm going to be making 2 double crochets in each stitch round. So this counts as my first double crochet, and this will be my second double crochet in the first stitch. And I'm going to continue all the way round, making 2 double crochets in each stitch round. So I'm coming towards the end now. So at the end of this round you should have 24 double crochets, and that 24 includes your chain 3 that you've started with that counts as the first double crochet. So 23 double crochets and your chain 3. So when we get to the end, we're going to join again with a slip stitch, and we're going to join in the top of this first chain 3 that we made. So I count up from the bottom to the top of the chain. So the top of the chain 3 we're going in. So this is the first chain, second chain, third chain at the top, and I'm going to join again with a slip stitch, making sure I get under both parts of this stitch. Can be a bit tricky. Sometimes I go under one part and wriggle to get under the second. So I'm under both parts of the stitch there, grabbing my wool and pulling it through the stitch, through the loop on the hook, and tightening it again so that that chain or that slip stitch that I just joined disappears, and I'm not going to mistake it for a stitch later on. So that's round 1, 12 single crochets into a magic circle. Round 2, 2 double crochets into each stitch around, so we end up with 24 double crochets. Round 3 is where we start to add a little bit of texture to the face scrubby. So you can see there are some raised stitches, and these are front post double crochets. So we're going to do a round of front post double crochets followed by a double crochet in between the stitches, and I can show you how to do that now. So we're going to start just by doing a chain 1, and we're going to do a front post double crochet around this first stitch here. This is the chain from the previous row. I do a front post double crochet by putting my wool over my hook, and I'm going round the post. So I'll go in the space before the stitch, underneath and out the back, grab my wool and pull it through, and finish in the same way as with a normal double crochet. So that's my first front post double crochet. Then I'm going to work in this space between that stitch and my next stitch. I'm just going to do a double crochet in there. So a double crochet in that space, and then in the next stitch, or around the next stitch, around this post, I'm going to do a front post double crochet. Front post, and then one in that space, so not in the stitch, in the space, a double crochet in the space. And I'm going to continue doing that all the way around. So a front post double crochet, followed by a stitch in the space between the two double crochets in the row below. So front post, and then a double crochet in the space, front post, so wool over my hook, in the space before, underneath, and in the space after, pull it through, finish like a double crochet, one in the space. So this round your circle might start to wrinkle a little bit or ruffle a little bit, and I wouldn't worry about this, because once you've done this round you're going to do a round of single crochets to finish it off, and it will start to flatten and look a better shape. So about halfway around now. I keep going. So double crochet, front post, double crochet in the space, and front post again. So you can see already that it's getting a bit of texture on it. And you can probably see now when I mentioned it starts to ruffle a bit and isn't as flat. Mine is a bit ruffly. I'm not worried about it because I know on the next round that it will flatten out a bit. In the space, front post, double crochet in the space. Coming towards the end now. Front post, one in the space, and this is my last front post here. So front post, and then I'm going to do one double crochet in that last space, and to finish it off I'm going to join with a slip stitch into this first front post double crochet that we did. So poking my hook in, with my wool, pulling it through the stitch, through the loop on the hook, and then tighten it up so it disappears. And that's round 3. So the final round is a round of single crochets, but to make this circle here, this extra bit of texture, we're going to be working in the back loops only. So we start the round by doing a chain 1, and when I'm talking about going in the back loops only, when we're looking at these V's, you can see there's a loop here and a loop here. Normally we would go under both, but for this round I just want you to go under the back loop, and we're going to do a round of single crochet. So under the back loop, grab your wool and pull it through, grab your wool and pull it through 2 loops on your hook. And we're going to do this all the way around, so there's no increasing on this round, and because there's no increasing, this is the round that makes the little round scrubbies a bit flatter after they've gone a little bit wrinkly after round 3. So already you can see that line that's made because we're going in the back loops only. So I'm going to continue working these single crochets in the back loops only all the way around. So about halfway around now. Keeping going in the back loops, and you can see I'm coming up towards the end here. Last 2 stitches, 1, 2, and we're going to join with a slip stitch into the top of this first single crochet that we worked. So we're going to ignore this little one here. This was the chain one that we did. So we're ignoring that and going straight into this slip stitch at the chain, not the chain, a single crochet. I'm going to go under both loops to join. So poking it in, grabbing the wool and pulling it through the stitch and through the loop on your hook. You're going to do that little trick to tighten it up again. So tighten it up and that slip stitch disappears. And then we're going to fasten it off. So we're just going to cut the wool. And to fasten off, you grab your wool, pull it all the way through the loop on your hook, give it a tug to tighten up. And that's the scrubby finish. We just need to sew in the ends. So I'm just going to sew in these ends to finish off this scrubby. So I'm just using a wool needle. And I'm just going to poke the needle in here, underneath some of these stitches at the back, through. It's nice and secure. And then I'm going to trim it off really close to the scrubby. So that's that one sewn in. I'm going to do the same with the middle. Because I started with a magic circle, I like to do a knot just to make sure it's extra secure and it's not going to unravel when I'm sewing in this end. So I loop it under a stitch, and then I'm going to go through here. Oh, needles come off. So I've done a little knot, so that's not going to come undone. And then the same way that I did with the other end, I'm just going to poke it underneath some of the stitches and make sure it's hidden out of the way. I'm going to go this way, poke it through. Quite tight getting that through there. There you go, that's not going to come undone. And trim it off quite close to your work. So this is the back, ends all sewn in, and this is the front of your scrubby. And that's how you make a cotton face scrubby. I'm on Facebook, The Wool Loft at Fleetwood, and Instagram, The Wool Loft. And if you've got any requests for patterns, please drop me a line or a comment, and make sure you subscribe for updates.